Okay, great. Awesome. So welcome everyone. This is my presentation. As you can tell, I'm a hairdresser, so I've actually taken my number 3 assignment to do as my presentation for number 2. So I've done this PowerPoint on color types. So we'll get right into it. Okay, so in the world of hair color, there's obviously so many different brands of hair color that you can use, whether it's salon professional or even, those of you that do your hair yourself, drugstore products. The one thing that's common among all of them is the hair color types. So no matter what brand you're working with, if you're working with your temporary, semi, demi, permanent, those relatively all work the same in the hair. There might vary in degrees of like pH level and things like that, but overall, the actual way the color works is the same. So we're going to talk about how those hair color work, each hair color type works, and you'll get a little bit of an overview of what that looks like. So we're going to start with temporary hair color. So this is the hair strand here, and this is how temporary hair color sits on the hair. Okay, so as you can see, the little color molecules are sitting on the very outside of the hair strand. Temporary hair colors we find in a lot of like our pigmented shampoos and styling gels. They'll sometimes come in like fun hair chalks or combs. A lot of little kids and little girls like to use it because it washes out of the hair right away. So this hair color type does you'll get 1 or 2 washes out of it. Sometimes you'll get staining, but overall temporary hair color is a one-time thing. We also find it in pigmented masks and shampoos, which says hairdressers we use behind our chairs in corrective work. So if you think of your hair strand as your house, okay, and that cuticle layer, those little spokes you see coming off the side as say your front door, temporary hair color would be like the paper boy coming to your house. Okay, he comes by, he drops off the paper, he doesn't come right up to your door, but he's there for just a short moment and then he leaves, right? So a lot like temporary color, it's only there for a hot minute or 2, but then it's gone. Okay, so what that looks like in the hair is like this first and second photo would be examples of those highly pigmented like hair chalks and gels. You could put it in for a fun night out and then it would wash right out of the hair afterwards. Okay, this would be an example of say like a pigmented conditioning treatment where you get kind of that little bit of a lavender tone. It's more transparent and it just kind of helps to tone out unwanted shades in the hair. Okay. The next one we're going to talk about is semi-permanent hair color. So with semi-permanent color, it gives a lot of shine and depth to the hair. However, it still lives on the outside of the hair strand. Okay, so as you can see, those color molecules are there, but they're hugging the hair just a little bit tighter than what temporary hair color would do. Okay, so this is what we use as hairdressers as our corrective tool after, say, lightening or bleaching the hair. Okay, so again, if we refer back to our house, this hair color type would kind of be like a girl guide coming to your door and selling you those cookies, right? They're so delicious and you can experience and eat them for a while, a month if you want to, but eventually you're gonna have to replace the cookies too. The girl guide, she stands at your door and she knocks on it, but she doesn't actually come inside. So she kind of gets a little bit closer than say the paper boy would or temporary color would. Is that making sense to everyone? Okay, awesome. So again, this can be used on natural hair. So for example, this picture, It's all her natural hair, but she has a glossing tone of this semi-permanent color over top of it to give her lots of shine and reflection in her hair. Okay, it can also be used to tone our bleaches, right? And we can also use it to refresh hair. So for example, in this picture, you can see at the root, her copper is really nice and deep and rich. We could use a toner to make her ends look the same way again as well, without causing more damage to the hair. Okay, so the next color type would be demi-permanent color. So now you can see the color molecules are moving a little deeper inside the hair. The natural pigment of the hair is still there, but the cuticle kind of gets lifted a little bit. So this color type we mixed with a stronger developer, and we use it typically to give more saturation to the hair, more coverage. We can use it for gray blending and to give a lot of like depth and richness to color. This hair color would be like your neighbor. Okay, so your neighbor would come knock on your door and your door would open and he'd actually kind of step inside your front door. But eventually you can like kick him out if you need to. And demi-permanent color is the same way. If you need to get rid of it out of the hair, it's easy for somebody to change their hair color with demi. Okay, so what that looks like in the hair, we're looking at these rich, vibrant shades. It gives more longevity, so it's going to last in the hair way longer than say semi or temporary hair color. And this is also what we use in hair color to achieve those really bright fashion shades over top of pre-lightened hair. Next one is permanent color. So permanent color is more of our powerhouse. This is what we use to completely cover gray. And as you can see in the hair strand photo, the pigment goes right inside the hair. The cuticle is lifted way more because we're using a stronger developer, so raising the pH of the hair. And you can also see that those color molecules are linking up together. So what that means is there's an actual color chain being formed inside the hair, and that's what makes the color pigmented, right? And permanent. So, and you can also see that there's some diffusion of the natural pigment in the hair strand. So this is where we're actually going in and doing a chemical reaction to change the color of the hair. This hair color is like when your mom comes to visit you. Okay, she comes to your house, she stays a while. Before you know it, your kitchen's rearranged a little bit and your living room's backwards. And it takes a little bit more effort to get her out and to get her back home. So again, here's the nice before and after picture of a gray coverage. This is our main use with permanent hair color, is covering grays, because that is one of the biggest things us women struggle with. We can also get these really nice, rich reds and beautiful, deep, shiny shades. Our blondes as well. And it just shows you that this color really is saturated and very opaque on the hair. So the last thing I want to talk about is decolorizer. So even though this presentation is about hair color types, decolorizer actually isn't really a hair color. It is a tool we use in order to reduce and minimize pigment in the hair. This is otherwise known as bleach. It's important that we know what this does to the hair as well as the other color types. So as you can see here, the cuticle layer of the hair, or the door, is completely open. It's blasted right open, and those the decolorizers go in and completely diffuse the natural pigment in the hair. Well, and we do have a clean slate left over, so it's not creating any pigment in the hair, it's just taking away the natural pigment or artificial. Okay, so this is like when a robber comes to your house when you're not home. So you get back home, your door is open, all your stuff is missing. Okay, you might need to ask your neighbor for some video surveillance, or, you know, go meet up with a girl guide to get some cookies to make you feel better. But this is basically what happens. You're not, you need those things in order to repair the hair when you're done decolorizing. So now that you know those color types, oh, this is also images of what decolorizer does. So this is actually a picture of a color process that I did myself. And I kept track of it because I really wanted to showcase what decolorizer does for artificial pigment and pulling it out of the hair. So as you can see, it's quite the process. And in the last two photos, we used semis and demis in order to repair and give back the hair shine and tone and control things that we didn't want there anymore. So decolorizers get us to these bright, beautiful blondes and highlighted colors as well, right? So there you have it, your semi, demi, permanent, temporary, and decolorizer. And now that we've been through all of them, I want to ask you guys if you can remember which character is like which hair type. So does anybody know what the temporary hair color is? Which character did I show?
Wasn't that the girl guide with her cookies?
Nope.
Say the girl guide.
No, oh, sorry, wrong one.
The newspaper boy.
Yes, that was
Yes.
the newspaper boy. And then Semi?
That was the cookie. Sorry, I'm fixated on cookies now.
Okay, and the demi-permanent color? Anyone? That was our neighbor.
Okay.
Permanent?
The mother-in-law.
Yes, the mother or mother-in-law. I think they would both do the same thing in our houses. And last but not least, the decolorizer or bleaches.
The doors are blown wide open.
Yeah, the robber.
The robber. Exactly. So there you go. That's an easy way for you guys to remember what hair color type. So, I mean, if you're thinking of going to the salon or going to grab your own color at the store, you can keep this in mind when you're choosing. So one more thing I'd like to do with you guys is kind of review what those look like on the hair. And I'll give you another little analogy here of how that works. So when I think of temporary color, I think of getting a suntan on my legs. Okay, so it's great, there's not much there, but if you don't keep up with it, like temporary color, if you don't keep up with it, it's going to fade quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, the semi-permanent is like wearing a pair of nylons. It's nice and sheer on the hair, it gives a lot of shine and sparkle, but still you're showing your legs, right? Demi-permanent color, I consider a pair of leggings. So that's where we get something a little more opaque, but really they're still not considered a real pair of pants. And permanent color, I would say, is a pair of jeans. So that's where you get your full coverage. You can get them in any shade, any color, light or dark that you want. Okay, and decolorizer, I would definitely say that is like shaving your legs without shaving cream. Okay, so you're taking away from the hair, and you will need to do some reparative work in order to get it back to where it needs to be. So all in all, that is pretty much my presentation. I like to remind stylists that we have lots of great tools, and doing a proper analysis of the hair is so important when we are choosing our colors for our hair, and understanding like what's going on in our hair to begin with before we even go down that road, right? So that's the end of my presentation. Here's a list of references for this presentation if you'd like to look more into it. And I'd love to answer any questions that you guys have.
I have a question.
Sure.
If you've gone and colorized your hair and then put something bright on it, how do you repair it? Because you said the cuticles, rise right up. So how do you make it so that the cuticles go back down so that your hair is happier and the color sticks around for a long time and all that sort of stuff? How do you do that?
Okay, that's a great question. So that's where we go in and we use our semi-permanent or demi-permanent color. They have a lower pH than what the hair has experienced going through the decolorizing process. And same with even simply using our conditioners after that process. It all calms the hair back down to where it should be. And that's why it's so important that after you decolorize your hair, you do follow it with either a semi or a demi, because it repairs the hair back to the state it should be in.
Okay. And is there any, because I know shampoos come in all sorts of different pHs, is there a better shampoo pH you should be having with colored hair versus just normal non-colored hair?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of using the shampoo and conditioner that is paired with the color. So in the salon, that's what we have. Like for example, I use Goldwell Color, so I recommend Goldwell Color shampoos and conditioners. Now, if you don't have access to that, just making sure that you have a really good color shampoo and conditioner is key, because what that specific product does is it does take care of the pH, and it does take care of those color molecules that you've put in the hair to maintain their integrity.
Cool, thanks.
No problem. Arvind, do you have any questions?
No, I think it was your presentation was really, really good. And then I liked your colorful slides and and the characters that you associated with, like, with the types of hair. And then I think it was really amazing.
Oh, thank you. It's all about keeping it fun, right? And that's what
Yeah.
hair really is about. And
Yeah.
even in, presenting and learning, it's
Mhm.
a lot easier when you have something fun to look at. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think you can never get bored of your career there.
absolutely not. Okay, thank you. So I'm going to stop recording now.
Okay.